Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? What? Yeah. Y'all ready to play some football?
Welcome to our third episode of Sports Ed with Aaron
and Danielle.
Today we're going to recap some of week 3 and go over some other sports news and things of that nature. So for the week 3 recap, we're going to start off with the shutout that transpired between the Patriots over the Texans. And in that game, there's injury news about J.J. Watt. He re-injured his back and is expected to be out for the remainder of the season. But they are hoping for a late season return if the team makes a playoff run.
I don't think anybody was expecting a shutout on Thursday Night Football. Honestly, I turned the game off to How to Get Away with Murder at halftime. The rookie quarterback for the Patriots, he just managed the game, and from what I heard and what I read, it really wasn't much of a game. It was nothing to watch.
Yeah. And then we go over to Sunday Night Football. The Cowboys win over the Bears. It was a 14-point win. But there's another injury news with Dez Bryant. He has had a hairline fracture to his knee, and they are saying it's going to be a day-to-day thing. But they're saying they're hoping that he will play on Sunday.
I don't see how you're going to play with a broken knee. Unless they wrap that thing up, how can you run on something that's wrapped? It's your knee. That's what he does. He runs. He catches the ball. I don't see how he's going to play.
Yeah. And then on Monday Night Football, we have a high-scoring game with the Falcons overcoming the Saints. It was a 13-point win, but that score was 45-32, so they had a lot of points on both sides.
That just means both defenses are really bad, and you're playing with top quarterbacks, Matt Ryan and Drew Brees.
Yeah. Now, some other scores around the league as far as winnings and things of that nature. We had some closeout with the Ravens over the Jags, the Packers over the Lions, the Dolphins over the Browns, the Raiders over the Titans, the Rams over the Bucks, the Colts over the Chargers. And then we go to the Redskins over the Giants, which also had an injury with D'Angelo Hall suffering a torn ACL, and he's out for the season.
Well, the Redskins, they're just lucky that they came out with the win on Sunday. Unfortunately, they lost one of their top defensive players, and, the Giants, Eli Manning does what Eli Manning does, throws interceptions at critical points of the game, and guess what? Odell Beckham Jr. does, throws temper tantrums, gets hit by his own equipment, and there you go.
But with Odell Beckham Jr., he did set the record for the fastest player to reach 200 receptions, doing it in only 30 games. So he did accomplish something. It might not have been that fight, that one-on-one with that kicker's net, but he did accomplish something. Now, some blowouts that transpired. We're going to say blowouts, meaning it was more than a two-scoring win. We have the Broncos over the Bengals, the Bills over the Cardinals, the Chiefs over the Jets, and the Seahawks over the 49ers, which again has another injury news with Russell Wilson. He has not missed starting a game at all. He sprained his MCL. But they are saying they're optimistic for a quick return back to the field for Sunday versus there being some reports that he may have to miss a couple of weeks.
He's hopeful he's going to be able to play, but you never know when it comes to your knee and that area. He's a running quarterback, and, it takes something to be sprained like that. I don't see how he's going to come back unless he's getting a lot of injections or a lot of painkillers, something. Unless he's praying to Jesus, because that's what he does. But I don't know. It's just a lot of injuries happening every week to big-name players, and that's just the nature of the sport of football.
Now, we get to one big game Well, I wouldn't say big game, but we're looking at the record they're holding is the Vikings are 3-0, and without Adrian Peterson, they beat the Panthers.
That was a it wasn't a shocking loss by the Panthers because the Vikings just have a really good defense. You can't say anything other than their defense is going to carry them throughout this season, and Sam Bradford is going to manage the offense and has been doing a pretty good job. So if you can beat the Panthers away and their own stadium, that tells me that you're going to be one of the top teams going into the regular season and into the playoffs.
Yes, now, drum roll. We had a show out. The Battle of PA. We had it. You said it wasn't going. You even called it against the Eagles.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Eagles beat the Steelers 34-3.
No one was expecting that type of performance, especially by the defense against Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown. Carson Wentz showed out again. So, I mean, everybody's flying high in Philadelphia. They got us ranked in the top 10 on different power rankings throughout the sports world. So I see pretty good things coming for our team.
Yeah, and they also said they tied a record between the rookie coach, rookie quarterback, having a 3-0 start, and I believe it was with Rex Ryan and Mark Sanchez with the Jets. Yeah, now talking about the NFC East with the Eagles win. Currently, they're in first place. Giants are in second. Cowboys are in third, with the Redskins last. Now, the Eagles have not played anyone in their division yet. They are on a bye for week 4. Mm-hmm. And week 5, they come back and play the Detroit Lions. So that's still not a divisional game. They don't see a divisional opponent until week 6 when they take on the Redskins. And then later on in weeks 8 and 9 when they face the Cowboys, followed by the Giants.
So pretty much 3 of the Eagles' next 5 games will be against division opponents, which means they can set themselves apart and pretty much take this division. I see them winning the division at this point just because of how consistent our offense has played, our defense has played, and even our special teams minus that 1 touchdown against the Bears.
Yes. Now, as we head into week 4, which starts tomorrow with the game against Dolphins versus the Bengals, then we also have some Sunday night football game that's lined up for this Sunday is the Chiefs and the Steelers. What I'm saying games to watch or look out for especially would be the Falcons versus the Panthers, the Cardinals versus the Rams. So you were saying something about Arizona. You're surprised about Arizona?
I'm not surprised about Arizona.
I thought you said you were surprised about how they're looking so far this season in their record.
It happens. I mean, they were in the NFC Championship game last year, but things happen. New season. I mean, I don't know how much of a turnover they have. It looks like they still have a decent number of players from last year, but it's hard to win in the NFL, and it's only 3 weeks in. Anything can change. I mean, last year you saw the Kansas City Chiefs win their last 10 games of the season, so I'm not really concerned as much with the Cardinals.
All right, and I'm thinking what's going to be key is the Monday night matchup between the Giants and the Vikings. I think that's the game.
That would be a nice game to watch just so we could scout the Minnesota Vikings versus the NFC East and how the Giants match up against the Vikings. And the Giants defense was playing pretty good. I mean, they didn't play that well against the Redskins, but that's an NFC East game, so you can see why it wasn't that much of a defensive game. But the Vikings, they have like one of the top defenses, maybe the top defense in the league. We'll see. I mean, they got Odell Beckham to play. They don't have a running back, and the Giants don't have a running back. They just have Eli Manning and Odell Beckham. I mean, the Vikings, interception. Eli, I don't see the Giants winning. I mean, I don't think they're good. I don't think they're good enough.
Now, be sure to comment on our Facebook page your predictions for week 4. Is it going to be a blowout, a showout, a closeout, or a throwout? And you can even throw some numbers out there too. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, into other sports news and things that are going on in the sports world. The NHL started their preseason. The Flyers are currently 1-2 in their exhibition play, and they have a game tonight against the New Jersey Devils.
Who isn't excited about the upcoming hockey season?
Wayne Simmons had 2 goals last night in their win.
We're expecting the Flyers to go back to the playoffs. Remember, they hadn't made the playoffs in a few years, and this season they made it last year, so we're expecting them to go back this year.
Yes, and the NHL regular season faces off on October 12th. Now, NBA preseason is coming up this weekend. Philadelphia Sixers, they did open a new practice facility in Camden, New Jersey. Looks pretty nice.
I need to be able to go in that practice facility, being that it was paid for by public dollars. Okay, can I take the river line right to the practice facility and go right up in there? Because we pay for that.
True. Can I get a YMCA benefit or membership? No,
exactly.
That's a little expensive, but still. And in other NBA news, we had a recent retirement announcement by Kevin Garnett. 40 years old. He announced he's retiring. Wow. He's out. And then his former teammate Paul Pierce states he's done after this season. So
it's players. A new generation of NBA players taking over the league. And all the players we grew up watching are all out pretty much. So on to the next.
And the Sixers will start their preseason. First game is on the 4th of October against the Boston Celtics. How's that? Now, in other news, we want to just take our time to send our thoughts and prayers to the family, friends, and those affected by the losses of the Marlins pitcher Jose Fernandez and a legendary golfer Arnold Palmer.
Yes.
Now, is there anything you wanted to share?
No, I don't have anything I want to share.
Regarding any other news, positive stories, or anything of that nature?
I do have a positive story. I read about former NFL center Jason Brown, who in 2009, which was 7 years ago, was the highest paid center in the entire National Football League. He actually decided to leave professional football and to become a farmer, something he has never done, knows nothing about agriculture, but he decided to quit football, go to North Carolina, and open a 1,000-acre farm to serve the poor in that state, and specifically in the county in which he opened the farm in. Now, he earned $25 million while playing in the NFL, decided to quit and open up what he called a first fruit community farm, pretty much, where he learned to farm by watching YouTube videos.
YouTube is good for
something. So YouTube is good for something. You've never been a farmer, you know nothing about it. Why don't you turn on YouTube and learn and open up a farm and serve the community? I mean, he donates every first harvest to the food pantry in the area. So I thought that was pretty positive coming from someone who just says, you know what, I could do something else other than football. He wasn't even, I would say, out of the league. He just quit and said, I'm going to do something with my money to give back to the community and feed the hungry, feed the poor. And he did it.
Now that's good. So he must have felt led to do that. So that's a good thing.
He called it first fruit, so I'm saying he must be a man of faith.
So, and that's always
a good thing.
Yes. Now, to our last and our final segment of episode 3. You've been educated. We're going to do a little talk. We started off last week with the taunting. Now we're just going to talk about what is just an unsportsmanlike penalty in the game of football, since we see that a lot. Now, unsportsmanlike conduct, and this is right from the NFL playbook, the player's manual. They get one. Unsportsmanlike conduct. I'm reading verbatim. There shall be no unsportsmanlike conduct. This applies to any act which is contrary to the generally understood principles of sportsmanship. Such acts specifically include, among others, throwing a punch or a forearm, or kicking at an opponent even though no contact is made, the use of abusive, threatening, or insulting language or gestures to opponents, teammates, officials, or representatives of the league. So that's just a general synopsis of what they say unsportsmanlike conduct is. What do you think?
I think unsportsmanlike conduct probably could be called on almost every single play. I mean, you know how it is playing sports and being competitive against your opponent, and you gotta be under control, and you gotta try your best to display integrity on the field, but sometimes we let our emotions get the best of us, even in our celebrations. But yeah, it's up to the officials to decide what's unsportsmanlike. If someone's going off the hook on the field or doing crazy hits, cursing out the referee, something very belligerent like, that's when you want to throw the flag or call that penalty.
And with unsportsmanlike penalties, that's typically a loss of 15 yards from the seceding spot, or whatever spot the referee, after consulting with the crew, deems equitable. So that's your You've Been Educated segment for today. Now we are wrapping up episode 3, trying to cut it down so it's not a half an hour long, being that we don't have any commercial breaks.
Right.
But thank you for sticking it out with us. And this is Erin
and Danielle
with Sports Ed. Take care.
Have a good night.